Yeah.
Ooh,
I feel like, Microsoft's messaging at times hasn't necessarily been the best. I'm always like, why don't you just be more honest, right?
honest, just direct. Just be
But like,
direct.
because the whole idea of like, oh, we want the save the box itself, save the hardware. You know, if you look at the numbers, just the economy of the gaming industry, the Western market is slowing down and gaming hardware, consoles specifically, are maturing. So there's not a lot of growth there. All of the growth and profit is happening in the East, and it's happening on cloud gaming and mobile gaming. So that's why all these companies like I don't want to play my games on my phone, but that's why a lot of these companies are like exploring ways to deliver these popular brands on those devices is because that's where the growth is. So, I 20 years from now, I don't know what gaming hardware looks like globally. I
Mhm.
don't. Maybe it's all in TVs. Like
It is.
I
It's just going to be an app on your TV for the vast majority of people. It already actually is an app on your TV if you have a smart TV with GeForce Now, for example.
yeah.
Well,
You just
not
turn it
even
on and there's your games.
Yep.
cloud streaming aside, because I mean, I think it's a perfectly viable way to enjoy games, but with the performance we're seeing from ARM based architecture,
Mhm.
like there's no reason a smart TV wouldn't just be able to run,
Yep.
Xbox games, PlayStation games in a few years. Like I think
Yeah,
it's right
mobile
around the
phones
corner.
as well. Like you could end
Y-
up
yeah,
having that. Yeah.
yeah, and
It's just going to be a whole different landscape.
mhm.
I do think Nintendo was very smart, and I don't know if I imagine they thought about this, but knowing how the market for hardware is slowing down, they consolidated their handheld and home
Mhm.
console market with the Switch. To your
Yeah.
point about ARM processors, these basically smartphone system on a chips, they're getting so advanced. I wouldn't be surprised where in the next 10 years, you don't start to see like a Microsoft hardware device that's does that
Mhm.
in a way, or a PlayStation device as well, right? Like there's been rumors about a new PS Vita, which
Mhm.
makes me happy, but like why not there be a future where that's the case, where the performance is such parity between just docking it and taking it with you? Because
Right.
that is a way for these companies to grow their market too by having that new use case. So, I mean, I could see that happening, but I do think we'll just go more towards just cloud gaming.
But even beyond like cloud game streaming, because like, the use case is there. It is like there are obviously still hurdles and internet isn't available to be able to support it, worldwide yet, but that
Yeah.
is just a function of time. But the other thing a lot of people miss in the conversation from a technological perspective, and I think all, any of us in tech can recognize this, cloud compute. It's a
Mhm.
matter of that they can offload, they can offset various different processes. So you can actually either have a cheaper physical hardware. Yes, it's going to require the internet, but you can also, from just a form factor and cost, you can offload that cost into a server farm where then you can, in a way, you're subsidizing that. So you don't end up having, and then that scales as hardware goes. So you don't find yourself physically locked into like, well,
Yeah.
we made this call, 5 years ago, and it's going to be another 2 years, and we're kind of have to deal with it before the next generational shift happens. And I don't think we're going to see generational shifts like we had before. Digital libraries are like, a thing. How hard is it going to be to switch from an iPhone to an Android or vice versa when you have all of your apps and all the time invested in the platform? We see the same thing with PlayStation. So bringing Xbox to PlayStation, which they already started. And I think that's where I agree with you, Mark. I wish their messaging was more direct because you do have people who are under the belief that this isn't happening, and that's just a grieving process that's gonna take on. But I think it's gonna free up Xbox. I've been stating this for a long time now, and I've really doubled down. I was like, guys, it's gonna become Xbox PC, and I only put those words together so that basically they're going to stop limiting the operating system which runs Windows, which is a Windows based machine,
Mhm.
meaning Steam will be able to be run and installed in the games, and as long as the game can run on the hardware, then you're fine. And I know there are people out there coping pretty hard saying that PlayStation will block their games from Xbox specifically. And I was like, yeah, that's just if they do that, the lawsuits will entail. Like you bought it through Steam, PlayStation got their cut. It's just running on specific hardware. I don't think that's going to fly in the long run. And I honestly don't think it's in PlayStation's best interest at that point. They clearly won the console war. Good job, PlayStation, but now we're entering in an entirely different kind of landscape for video games. And I just, like I know a lot of people don't like me saying that, but it's going to be one of those. That's why I think I tweeted out like hashtag Ginger Prime was right again. It's like, because at some point, like, it's like, yeah, you call me whatever names you want, but this is something that continues to prove itself out. and I think
I
it's a function of time.
I think a few years ago, I probably, and I say a few, but it's probably like 10 years ago. I probably been like, that's insane. There's no way. But if we just look at just the way Microsoft has been headed as an entire corporation,
Yeah,
they'll still produce Xbox hardware, but you're right. It'll just be a PC, maybe pared down. I would like to see it retain that ease of access console experience, so where
Mhm.
when
Yeah.
you load up a game,
Yes,
you're not having to go configure settings. It's going to
right.
be set for you.
That's what
Keep
people
that
want. They want
keep that
that ease of
mentality.
access. Yeah.
Right. So keep that mentality, but then you have, just like Microsoft makes Surface tablets and laptops, you'll have them make Xbox consoles, and they will just run Steam and Epic Games and whatever else. And then, you finally get stuff that would never be on Xbox right now for whatever reason, but stuff like Genshin Impact,
Yeah.
that's a huge game. It could run on the Xbox right now. Just,
Easy.
you're just limited by the licensing on the hardware. Whereas if
Yeah.
Microsoft just goes, hey, it's a PC now, without all of the PC bells and whistles, then there's nothing that would stop them from doing that.
It's the ease of access, which is going to be a critical component of what defines a console. Because PC gaming is going to be PC gaming, and
Mhm.
you can tweak it and your drivers and all of that. What I think is that we see that that licensing of the operating system and the interface, so that things like the Rogue Ally, all of a sudden it's like, oh, we're just going to take on that interface, and it's just going to work. You got your store, your games, your friends list, your like, it's just
Yep.
going to be. And then I could see other manufacturers coming in, and so you end up having various different SKUs where, like, okay, this is the Xbox version, the Surface kind of team has made this.
Mhm.
Dell decided that they wanted to go ahead and make their own version of that, and they're going to put in some real, like, you can, then as a player, if you don't have the internet or you don't want the cloud, you can buy the hardware that's going to process that.
Right.
Yeah.
And and I could probably see them adding in that, like, boot to Xbox UI for Windows, so that if you just have one to, like, say, I'm just gonna build my own PC and I'm just gonna do that, I could see them doing that as well. So
And then you get some other like benefits from that as well, where like there's 360 games that are only on Xbox hardware,
Mhm.
that are backwards compatible. Well, now they could run on this PC OS, no problem. And so then you have PC players now able to access an entire library of games that most of these have been ported in some way, but
mhm.
there's still a few exclusives there. And I think Microsoft, their whole goal is how many people can play games all at the same time.